everybody, Kathy here. Today is the 8th of June. I had a couple emails asking me how I was dealing with the COVID. And I might have mentioned a little bit about this in one of my recent videos, but it's kind of interesting to me that how this all transpired, me buying this property, deciding to stay the winter. So just to kind of take you back, you might remember like last winter, a year ago last winter, I really wasn't happy with driving. I didn't like driving in California. It was pretty tough on me, which kind of pushed me a little bit into buying property where I would have a home base no matter what. If I decide to camp, travel, camp local, camp on the property, go to Arizona, whatever. So that was kind of my thought process. But what I found interesting about it all, in November, both of my kids had what I deemed an emergency. I felt like I needed to stay home. And my daughter said, go, go, go. And my son says, thank you for staying. So one of the emergencies was my son's wife, who had a problem with her pregnancy. She found out that there was a really, really good chance that the baby would be born with Turner syndrome. The chances of a live birth was like 1%. Same time, my grandson, the 17-year-old, was having a lot of depression issues and having trouble in school. So between those two things and adding the fact that I didn't like the driving part that much, it was an easy decision for me to make. Plus, I just bought the property and I wanted to stay put and see what winter did here, right? So all said and done, that was my decision, and that was made in November. Well, in December, I got really sick. I got very sick. I mean, as sick as I can remember being. And actually took me out of the RV and brought me to their house and helped take care of me because I was that sick. It's all a blur, to be honest with you. I don't remember too much about it. I know I slept a lot. I had a horrible cough. And I was complaining of my chest hurting, like I couldn't breathe sometimes. Well, following couple of months, in walks the information that we get about the COVID. And in retrospect, I know that had I made the decision to travel as planned, that I would have got stuck more than likely, in my friend's backyard in Arizona, or trying to find camping spots were pretty much nil and impossible to find for a while. I might have been stuck in Arizona or who knows where. I guess I could have stayed at truck stops, but because of the problem with the campgrounds, would I have even been able to find a truck stop that had room, had space for me? Rest stops the same. So when I look at it that way, I look at it like, wow, kind of serendipitous, right? Everything kind of worked out the way it should work out for me. Where I live in Mason County. It's different for me with the COVID. It's not much really, because what I do day to day is I'm camping. For the most part, I'm on my own, and I don't see too many people. The biggest change was that at least twice a month with my daughter for a day or two, and then I would see friends, have lunch or have breakfast or something like that with a friend. I do always wear a mask when I go into public places, like indoor places like a grocery store, post office, or what have you. I do not wear gloves. I do pump gas. I use a doggy poo-poo bag. Now we're in I think we're applying for phase 3. Maybe we're already in phase 3. I haven't looked this week yet. And but I know that we only had one, in Mason County, we only had one death and like 35 cases. So very nominal. It's in an area that's pretty remote, but it's also a very heavily trafficked camping, hiking destination. Again, foothills of the Olympic Mountains, if that, kind of puts that into your mind. There's tons of trails around here, tons of campgrounds, within 30 miles of me. So, when our governor gave the word that they would make all parks free, it was like sometime either in late March or it might have been early April. But the people who are already staying at home, I mean, there's no school, right? People are working from home or they've been furloughed. And so the governor said, kind of be nice, let people go outside. Oh, this little town of Hoodsport, Lake Cushman area, got inundated with people. You would have thought it was July 4th weekend. It was so many people here. I never have written the governor in my life, but I wrote the governor this time and said, you know, if you got to think about it, we have one store, one gas station, 6 gas pumps, and the little store we have is just an old-fashioned little IGA with, you know, tiny aisles, and you don't have much, there's not a lot of selection. You don't always have the same selection, and it's not that much product either. As for everyone, toilet paper was an issue. Like everybody else, stores caught up and toilet paper was no longer an issue. And anyway, what a mess that was. And it still is, and I don't want to get political or anything. I am looking forward to November. I'm looking forward to a change. I'm hoping that people see what we've gone through lately and they can see what harm has happened. I was just thinking, you know, I grew up in the 60s in Chicago, and as a 10, 11, 12-year-old, 9-year-old, 6-year-old girl, I saw things that no little girl should have to see, no kid should have to see. And in my mind, they're horrors. And I'm afraid, and what I'm seeing now is almost like a repeat of history. It's almost like it's okay to be bad. It's like the people who are, gosh, I hated to get in, I didn't want to be political, but it's just, it's more the feeling that I'm feeling. It's like these people who are acting out and being bad and treating people poorly and not being fair. I mean, like the jogger, the black jogger. What's happened? You know, used to be people would keep their opinions to themselves and their prejudices to themselves. You may never know that somebody was racist because they wouldn't say, because number one, there's something they knew that was not you know, politically correct, and they couldn't really say it. And yet what's happening right now, it's like they've gotten the okay to behave badly, like they can't keep the bad in check now, and it's okay. So it's kind of, you know, I guess I didn't want to get political in this, but I am looking forward to November, and I'm hoping that everybody else like me, that, you know, is tolerant and wants equality. I could get myself totally upset thinking about this. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the COVID and the state of affairs right now. Sorry if I'm offending anybody, but that is my opinion, and I know we all have one. So thanks for hearing me out anyway.